Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's Proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, Steeler fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. We got another episode of our Steelers player profile for you this week. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks. Everybody knows that Ben Roethlisberger is the starting quarterback. It's pretty much entrenched. He's a franchise guy. Not a lot of teams have somebody like him. We're going to start with the lesser guys first, work our way up to Ben. First guy we're going to talk about is Tajh Boyd. He is a second-year player coming out of Clemson. He was a sixth-round pick for the Jets in 2014. He's a smaller guy, maybe not smaller, but 6'1", shade over 200 pounds. Big Ben's a freaking beast, so everybody's small compared to him. Boyd's got a little bit of quickness, and he's got a decent arm. He threw for over 3,800 yards in each season from 2011 to 2013 while at Clemson. He had 34 touchdowns versus only 11 interceptions his senior year. He ran for over 500 yards in 2012 and 400 yards exactly in 2014 with 10 rushing touchdowns in both 2012 and 2013. So this is a guy who can make plays with his arm. He can make plays with his feet. He didn't stick in the Jets roster. They had Geno Smith. They had Michael Vick last year. They have Bryce Petty this year. So that's why Boyd moved on. Pittsburgh thinks that he can push for the third, maybe even second spot on the roster at the quarterback position.
Well, I have a hard time believing he'd be your second quarterback at any point during the season. But I definitely think he can beat out Mother Effer Jones.
Yeah, Lan Jie Jones is just garbage.
And really, the main thing here is bringing in a fast quarterback to practice against, in my mind.
To help against that, the zone option or zone read that stupid Seattle runs.
Yeah, unless you want to, during the season, you just sign someone like that. But I like bringing in a guy like this to just mix things up at the quarterback position a little bit.
He definitely seems like he has a better skill set than Lan Jie Jones. Am I wrong here?
Well, look, he went to high school at Phoebus High School in Hampton, Virginia, and he was 43-2 with 2 state championships there.
See? I mean,
dude was a beast.
He's got talent. He's got the athleticism to play the position, especially in today's NFL. I mean, if this guy can read a defense, now the jury's still out. He didn't even throw a pass last year in the regular season for the Jets. But he is the skill set to run that zone read. The quick handoff to the running back, the play fakes, the move around, the misdirections that all these coaches are moving to. I'm not saying he's as good as RG3, even though RG3 has been bad the last year or two, but he has that same type of skill set. 47, you want Boyd starting for your team? If you played Madden right now, would you draft him number 1 overall?
Maybe like
154th overall.
Well, listen, if I'm playing Madden and he has the speed that I like, I'm drafting him because I can build up everything
There
else.
you go.
But look, Boyd was a dominant player in college, really. He finished his career with school records and conference records for passing yards with 11,904 and passing touchdowns with 107. So he got it done in college. Now, does it translate to the pros? That's a big question. But you could tell the upside's there, and really, Lan Jie Jones has shown nothing, so I see no reason why Tajh Boyd can't beat him out.
I've heard good things about Boyd coming out of OTAs. I mean, you only do so much anyway. They don't do a lot of running in OTAs because you're not allowed to have contact, so they work more on passing drills. And he's been pretty accurate.
he'll get a good look in the preseason.
Yeah, I don't think Ben should even play that much. They need to pull an Adrian Peterson and not even play Ben in the preseason.
No, the last game, maybe.
Well, the third game. They never
Or the
play
third
starters
game,
the last
yeah.
game.
Exactly. Well, how many games are there now? 4 or 5?
Oh, we have 5 this year. That's right, because we're in the Hall of Fame game.
Stupid.
He's not even going to play that one, I don't think. Well, the next guy on the list is Lan Jie Jones. He comes out of Oklahoma. He was drafted in the 4th round by the Steelers, their second 4th round pick in 2013. He has been inactive for every game he's been with the team. He's 6'3", 221 pounds. He had some good seasons in Oklahoma. People thought that he could project as a system quarterback or maybe just somebody who could work behind. But I've heard nothing good about this guy in any training camp he's ever been. He hasn't been able to beat out Bruce Gradkowski for the backup job to Ben Roethlisberger. And Ben's played the last 2 years, all 16 games. So you can't even back up a guy who's not missing time, then you're not very good.
I hated that pick when they drafted him.
Such
I mean,
a
why do
waste.
you spend a 4th round pick on a guy? I mean, I understand. Let's say now you spend a 4th round pick on a quarterback. Well, that's okay because Ben is nearing the end of his career at least. But
At 33
back
years
then, I
old.
mean, Ben was in the middle of his career. So what are you doing with Lan Jie Jones?
It made no sense. No sense to me at all. it's like the Dre Archer pick, and the jury's still out on him, but these are luxury picks that the Steelers could not afford to take at that point in time. This is why our defense got old overnight and why we've struggled the last 2 years to put together a defense that can compete and help our offense try to win some games.
Yeah, it's definitely just, I wouldn't say Dre Archer's a waste of a pick, but, I mean, Lan Jie Jones is, because you knew from the very beginning he was going to give you nothing.
Yeah, at most he was going to be a backup. I don't even understand what they were thinking. Like you said, Ben was still so early into his career. It wasn't like you were grooming this guy to take over for Ben. It would have been...
Unless he's 35 by the time he takes over.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't make any sense at all. The Steelers didn't have any depth behind Big Ben, but that's why you signed journeyman to be your backup. It's not that hard to be a backup. Unless you're Michael Vick. Well, let's move on. Jones doesn't even need any more talking. He's garbage. Talk about Bruce Gradkowski. This is a guy who went to Seton LaSalle. He's a Pittsburgh native. People in Pittsburgh love this guy.
Well, he tore up the Steelers. I know that.
He only threw 21 touchdowns in his whole career versus 24 interceptions, and I think 4 of them might have came against Pittsburgh in one game with the Raiders. He signed a 3-year deal in 2013. He hasn't thrown a pass in the regular season or postseason since signing with the team. He has only a little over 4,000 career passing yards with a 65.8 QB rating for his entire career. He's been a journeyman. I'm not going to say he's terrible. There are definitely quarterbacks that are worse than him in the league, but I really wouldn't feel that comfortable if Ben did go down and Gradkowski was the next guy up. I don't know if I'd be that excited.
Like I was saying earlier, I think they would actually sign someone. If Ben went down, they would sign someone. Maybe Gradkowski get one start, and then the other quarterback would come in and probably start after that.
I don't know. I'm not handing the keys to one of the top offenses in the league to Bruce Gradkowski.
No, sometimes. I mean, if your quarterback goes down, man, you don't have much chance anyway.
Oh,
so,
obviously.
I mean, you can give him a chance. Why not? And plus, he can hold a place kick pretty well.
He holds clipboard pretty good, too.
So there you go.
Wears his backwards hat.
He's a journeyman. He played for a bunch of teams. Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Cleveland, Oakland, Cincinnati,
yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's been all around the lot. He's been all through the AFC North except Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's where he's going next. He's going to get cut. Tajh Boyd, number 2. Bruce Gradkowski taking Joe Flacco's job.
How many attempts does a quarterback get in a season usually?
I don't know, somewhere around 500.
In 709 career attempts, he has 4,057 yards. So, I mean, those numbers aren't too bad.
Season and a half, kind of almost.
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect him to be a 4,000-yard passer or anything.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was. In today's NFL, if you get the keys to an offense and you can't throw for at least 3,000, then you shouldn't even be in the league. But Gradkowski's serviceable. He's a guy that he's well-liked in the locker room. He's well-liked by the coaches. Him and Ben Roethlisberger have a good rapport. He helps Ben out. He watches some things for him. So,
well, this is his last season of his deal, correct?
Yeah.
So after this season, he probably won't come back, or he could end up like Charlie Batch and come back for the next 30 years.
I mean, he's hurt right now, too, so that's going to give Jones and Boyd a chance to battle it out in training camp when it starts for that number 2 or number 3 spot. Enough about the bums, though. Let's talk about the guy everybody wants to hear, Big Ben. He obviously has 2 Super Bowls. He's lost another one against Green Bay. This is a guy that I thought has had Hall of Fame credentials for a few seasons now. Me and Dash do differ on that a little. He has a little over 39,000 yards for his career, 251 touchdowns, 131 INTs. He was one of only 4 quarterbacks to win 100 games in his first 150 starts. One of the youngest guys to win 1 and 2 Super Bowls. He played in all 16 games the last 2 years. His completion percentage against the Blitz last season was 67.9%, the highest in the league. Matt Ryan and Drew Brees were right behind him at 67.2 and 66.9 respectively. But Big Ben has always been at his best when he's making plays. He does get sacked a lot, 419 times for his career. That's probably the most since he's come into the league. I'm not sure on that total. But he has all the tools you want at quarterback. So many people in this city complain about this guy, and I don't understand it. He is one of the best quarterbacks in football right now. Top 5 for sure. If you're rating him out of the top 5, you don't know football.
Who would ever thought we'd see a Steeler quarterback win the passing title?
Yeah, I didn't think Big Ben would throw for over 3,500 yards ever in his career when we first drafted him, quite honestly.
He was just 48 yards shy of 5,000.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. He's got this offense rolling. And now he has struggled a little bit in his career at reading defenses before the snap. but he's always been able to make up for it after the ball snapped with his athleticism, not necessarily running in front of the line of scrimmage, but moving around behind the line to make plays and get the ball downfield. When Big Ben is averaging big yards per attempt, that's when he's at his best. And I think Todd Haley's kind of found a good middle ground to his dink and dunk offense versus Big Ben's strengths, which is going downfield. He lets Ben kind of have a little bit more freedom out there in what he's going to do and where he wants to go with the football.
Well, Big Ben had a big year last year, don't get me wrong, but all in all, that offense is supposed to be elite, and I know you still say it is elite, man, but what'd they score? 23 points a game offensively last season?
Well, sometimes the red zone performance just wasn't there.
Yeah, that's it. They definitely need to work on some things with their offense. They're not perfect.
I think they need to score 5 more points a game just offensively next season, or else I'm still not happy with it because they have all the pieces. They have one of the best running backs. They have one of the best quarterbacks. They have one of the best wide receivers. We'll talk about Martavis Bryant, too. I think that dude's going to have a beast season. But they have all the pieces they need on offense. I'm just not happy with 22, 23 points a game. Now, the defense, yeah, we know the offense is better than the defense, but the defense came up big several times last year and scored a lot of points, actually. And it makes the Steelers look like they scored a lot of points offensively. But really, man, they came up close to a touchdown short of what I'm looking for out of them per game.
They definitely need to average closer to 30 a game, maybe not a full
27
30 or over.
27, 28, something like that.
But like 47 said, there was a lot of struggles in the red zone, especially early. The offense struggled a lot on the road last year. Ben himself struggled on the road. He had 3 big games in Pittsburgh, and he had the 2 games with 6 touchdowns each. And he's the only quarterback to throw for over 500 yards twice in his career. But then he goes on the road to Cleveland and stinks it up, and we lose. I mean, and that's a problem.
Look at this Jacksonville game. They scored 17 points as a team. One of those were a defensive touchdown. This is one of the worst defenses in football. They need to be a little bit more consistent in my mind, too, because it seems like when they play, just like Pittsburgh football always, when they play the lesser teams, they just don't play as well for some reason. And really, he got to come out and lead this team and be more consistent in those games like Jacksonville. And I remember against Tampa Bay, he actually threw a pick at like the 7-yard line or something, and that actually cost them that game as well. Although the defense didn't help in the end, where Vincent Jackson caught the game-winning touchdown in the end.
Louis Murphy.
I thought it was Vincent Jackson that actually caught the... Louis Murphy caught the long pass, and then Vincent Jackson caught the touchdown, I believe it was.
Maybe. All I remember is I hate Murphy because that's the second time he's burned us deep at the end of a game.
But yeah, that was really the one play I remember that Big Ben made a huge mistake that actually cost them in that game. But really, the lesser teams, this offense really didn't get it done against the Tampa Bays and the Jacksonvilles and the Clevelands, really, outside of that first half and the first game of the season.
You got to remember, too, earlier in the year, the offense was struggling to find its groove and its type of offense it wanted to be. Haley was trying to force that. Remember the game we threw like 10 screen passes in the first 13 plays? That's not Big Ben's strength. He's not Peyton Manning or Brady. He's not going to diagnose before the snap, read the play, and know exactly where the open guy is. You got to let him improvise a little bit. And you see as the year moved on, he did get a little better. But yeah, they struggled on the road pretty much the whole year, whether it was early or late. They had a hard time on the road getting their offense moving consistently.
Well, they did win their last 3 road games against Tennessee, Cincy, and Atlanta. And really, the defense was stronger later in the season as well. If you remember, yeah, the offense was great from Houston through Baltimore. The defense was good then too, though. And really, the last 4 games of the season, the offense just wasn't scoring the type of points, or the last 3 games, I should say, because they did blow up against Cincinnati, I remember. But the last 3 games of the season, it was the defense that carried them into the playoffs and then let them down in the playoffs, actually. But yeah, this offense...
The play calling was a huge part of that playoff game, too. Haley ruined
this
that for
offense
us.
can be elite. I think Todd Haley's a big reason why it's still not, though. But they do have to take another step forward this season before I truly do believe they are an elite offense.
Yeah, we've been trying to run Haley out of town ever since we started the show. I don't like him. I don't like his play calling. I don't like how he tries to fit a round peg in a square hole. He says, this is my offense, you're going to run it. No. You take what your team does well and you run that style of offense. That's how you're successful in today's NFL. There's too much turnover in the NFL nowadays to say this is our system. Everybody has to learn exactly what this is. That was kind of the problem with Dick LeBeau towards the end. His system was so definite that it took people too long to learn it. You got to mold your system to fit your players, and Haley needs to do that with the offense. And if he can, this offense can definitely be a top 5 offense in the league. You got Brown, Bell, and Ben. That's the best combo of wide receiver, running back, quarterback from on one team in the league.
I mean, plus their offensive line was better than it has been in years last season.
Finally, yeah.
Heath Miller's still a productive player for you. Martavis Bryant's going to be coming into his second season and should be a little bit better of a player. I still have to see what they're going to do in the slot, though. But outside of that, I mean, they have all the pieces there. I just need to see the consistency.
I think you're going to see Brown working a lot in the slot this year.
Now they like Brown outside because he creates mismatches because he can go deep and he works good underneath. I think Bryant's going to be your guy to work deep, and they've had Marcus Wheaton in the slot since day one at the OTAs to start getting him ready to play that position. So they're looking to set with Bryant, Brown, and Wheaton 1, 2, 3 to start the season.
I'd rather see Archer in there than Wheaton, but I get it.
I'm not really sold on Dre Archer.
Yeah, I mean, the jury's still out on that guy. He didn't get much of a chance to prove himself. He was used completely wrong last year, completely. He's not a running back. He shouldn't be behind the line of scrimmage at all. You do not hand a 180-pound guy the ball behind 5 300-pound guys and say, try to get through him.
And plus, when he's in the game, you know damn well they're not passing because he can't pass block.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you are passing, you know you got to get the ball out.
Yeah, it's going to be a
0.1
screen pass
seconds.
or something.
Yes.
It's dumb. So get him out of the backfield, put him in the slot, and it'll work out better. But that wraps it up for our Steelers quarterback player profile. Thank you guys for coming in studio. Thank you, fans, for listening. Fans, you can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out the website at thespreadnews.simplesite.com. Let's go, Steelers.